want to welcome in Joe Davis, the voice of Major League Baseball on Fox, of course, the longtime voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers as well. Joe, thanks for being with us. Before we talk specifics about LA and the rest of the league, an opportunity for you to call the Field of Dreams game between the Reds and the Cubs. Just take me through your experience and how awesome was it to be there in person?
Yeah, Lana, it was special. It really was. And we know the Cubs and the Reds are not good, and the game was not great, whatever. But it's just special being there, being, in what was such a serene setting that made it easy to, remember why you fell in love with baseball. And unique for obvious reasons, an experience I'll never forget.
Yeah, Johnny Bench in the booth with you, of course. John Smoltz there, too. You guys looked dapper. And an opportunity for you to cover your first World Series coming up. This is an opportunity that you earned, well-deserved and well-earned. But how exciting is it to be the new voice on Fox for Major League Baseball?
It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. It's I'm living a dream, really. Had you asked me when I was a kid, what do you want to do when you grow up, I would have said pretty much exactly this. So I'm pinching myself every day, and I cannot wait for October to get here.
Well, you mentioned October, Major League Baseball just releasing the postseason schedule. And if it ends up this way, Joe, the team that you cover on a daily basis, the Los Angeles Dodgers, could potentially have 5 days off between the regular season and the start of the NLDS. You see a sim game in their future if that happens?
Yeah, I think that you probably will. And teams are going to have to learn the best way to do this. It's unprecedented. To be ready to go and not have that 5-day gap turn into a rust-inducing gap. And, hopefully we're going to find out that it is only an advantage, and not just speaking for the Dodgers, but for any team that gets a gap like that, that teams can, where it'll be tricky is teams that really race through game 162 and then have the gap, as opposed to being able to kind of line the whole thing up. Like the Dodgers have a 16-game lead in the division. They're going to be able to line this up however they want and then do the sim games and do whatever they need to be raring to go for that first division series game.
Yeah, 34-6 in their last 40 games, coming off a loss 4-0 to the Royals. But this is a team that's been hot. And Joe, you know better than anybody, they don't even have all of their guns. Clayton Kershaw on the IL. Hopefully Dustin May gets back soon. Blake Trinan's on his way back. Walker Buehler. How have you kind of taken a step back and looked at this team over the course of 22 in comparison to how they've been in the 2020 year when they won?
I think the lineup, Alana, is doing what everybody envisioned it could when Freddie Freeman was acquired. And what you envision they could is be one of the best lineups we've seen in a long, long time. And they really are that right now. The pitching, like you mentioned, it's incredible that they're not just like keeping their heads above water. They're the best pitching staff in baseball. And that's without Kershaw, without Walker Buehler. It's been for a chunk of the season without Andrew Heaney. Tony Gonsolin and Tyler Anderson, they're combined like 30-2. So, and then in the bullpen, several of the key pieces. And both those groups have been among the very best in baseball. So it at this point is a real machine that the Dodgers have.
Yeah, Julio Urias goes for the Dodgers tonight, an opportunity to become the second pitcher this year to win 10 straight decisions. I'll ask you this as my last question, Joe. Are the Dodgers enough to beat the Mets? Because the Mets pitching staff is pretty good.
Yeah, scary, right? DeGrom has looked like Jacob DeGrom in his first few starts back. 28 strikeouts, 1 walk in those 3 games. Scherzer doing what Scherzer always does. But yeah, I do think that going into the postseason, if that winds up being the matchup in an NLCS, the Dodgers are still the favorites. I think the offense is just so overwhelmingly good. And then you figure that the pitching is going to be excellent as well. That's assuming you get back a couple of these pieces. I think maybe head-to-head right now, and we're actually going to see that in a couple of weeks in New York. You could argue the Mets' advantage because of how dominant the pitching is, but I think that across the rosters, assuming the Dodgers get a little bit healthier as far as the pitching, on paper they should still be the favorite.
All right, so you have Julio Urias going up against Freddie Peralta tonight as Joe Davis and the rest of the SNLA crew start a 4-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers. Joe, thanks so much for taking the time.
Anytime for you, Alana.